Welcome back, friends. In this module number 28, we will be talking about few more methods of representing knowledge. Now, we have seen problems with predicate logic representation in the previous module, and we will be addressing some of the issues that we raised in that module by providing three more methods. One is fuzzy logic, the other one is called frames, and the third one is called semantic net. Basically, they again extend the basic method of knowledge representation by adding something new. Fuzzy logic helps all imprecise data related information. Frames represent knowledge representation using classes and objects, which simplifies many things. For example, there are many things that we need to assume, and how that assumption can be. Now, you need to get the truthfulness of that assumption, whether that assumption is true or false. So, one method is called inheritance, which is being used by frames. We will be talking about that. Semantic net is something which helps connection between objects, and you will be able to look at the relation and find out again truthfulness or falsehood of a typical statement, or finding out relation between two things. So, all these three methods of knowledge representation extends our discussion further. So, let us begin with the fuzzy logic. The idea of relative degree of membership comes into existence when you talk about fuzzy logic, or whenever you talk about problems like we have seen earlier. If the clothes are dirty, use more washing powder. Now, dirty means what? Contains 10 grams of dust to 5 grams of dust or 2 grams of dust. What do you mean by dirty? Or one taint or more, or what? The clothes are heavier, rinse more. Now, what do you mean by heavier? 2 kilos, 5 kilos, 7 kilos, what? And so on. Use hot water, for example. If the clothes are dirty, use hot water. Hot water means what? 30 degrees, 40 degrees, 60 degrees, what? What's the degree? What's the hotness? Now, remember, this is something which is very important. Now, when you deal with expert, you get rules like this. You get rules in this particular form. You need to convert these rules for executing them, because experts will give these general rules, and for a given case, you will have to find out how much amount of dirtiness this particular clothes have. And remember, this again is not precise. This is subjective. That depends on the opinion. I may call a single dot on my shirt makes my shirt dirty. My wife doesn't believe that. And this is the single dot, call it dirty, kind of. That's what I mean by dirty. And if you think of a factory worker, okay, his definition about dirty is altogether different. The same case we had last module, young politician, young student case. The point is, this is something which is very important, and we will have to model this idea in some quantified representation. Young teacher and young politician, human expert always do something like this, deal with this. So, rules should work for all cases. What we do is actually, for example, when I say that clothes are dirty, rinse more. So, you ask, what do you mean by dirty, and you have a table. Okay. So, that for example, we have relative degree of dirtiness from 1 to 10, and you get that information, and then rinse more means what? 1 cycle, 2, 3, 4, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, whatever, you decide that. Now, whenever you get the cloth, you find out where this cloth belongs to in this range. It is 2 or 5 or 7, whatever, and based on that you decide the amount of rinse or washing powder and all that. So, basically what you do is you just take this imprecise information, get some connection to this value, and get them associated. This is basically the usefulness of the fuzzy logic. Fuzzy logic is basically dealing with something called fuzzy sets. Let us try to see what fuzzy set means. When I say that a set of students, you can easily say that this guy is a member and the other one is not. I am definitely not a member of the set student. I am definitely a member of set teacher, so on and so forth. So, somebody, you can easily say that this is a member and this is not. There is no other possibility. But when you pick up a set like young, it is not so. Somebody who is 10 years of age definitely is a member, somebody who is a 60 years of age definitely is not the member. But what about 25? What about 35? What about 40? You can't say that precisely. That is the problem here. So, the boundary, it is not possible that on one day you are young and the next day you become old. It is impossible. So, that is the problem. And if you use something called mathematical induction, you can prove that nobody is old. K is young, K plus 1 is young, then for all Ks it is young. So, that is the issue here. point is the fuzzy set is a set with fuzzy boundary. Now, the next problem comes in. When you do not have that binary value, you are a member or not, the third thing comes into picture, how much you are a member of a set, the amount of the degree of membership that you hold for that particular set. A person with say age 10 we call that thing as a membership grade. The membership grade for that person is 1. With somebody with 60, the membership grade is 0, but 35 maybe 0.4, okay, kind of, okay. And again this range for young student is different than young politician, okay. So, that range also depends on the context. For example, the other example is fast car. When you talk about fast car set, if you are driving at 120 kilometers per hour, you definitely belong to that range, normal cars. But if you are driving in a car race, 120 is considered to be slow, okay. So, the range changes, okay, please understand. Humans routinely place things into classes where the meaning is clearly defined, but the boundaries are not, and those are called fuzzy sets. Fuzzy logic or fuzzy reasoning is a mechanism which deals with such sets and the operations. Okay. So, we need to introduce them because we are getting rules in that form. Humans are dealing with those forms and we need to have this logic to deal with such rules. Okay. Then for that we need fuzzy logic here. So, there are some fuzzy set examples shown on the screen: dirty, heavy, rinse, or all of them are fuzzy sets. The membership grade, usually it is denoted as mu. It demonstrates or it shows the extent to which an object is a member of that particular set. It is between 0 and 1. 0 is not member, 1 is certainly not is a member, and any other value is taking the degree to which is a member. But remember, we have discussed about CF in the previous module. CF is not the same as mu. Please understand, in case of the doctor saying that there is a 70% chance that you have malaria, you have a malaria, you do not have. There is nothing in between. It is not that you are 70% malaria and 30% you do not have malaria. It is not the case. You either belong to that set or you do not belong to. Okay. The boundary is crisp. It is not dealing with fuzzy set. The statement itself is fuzzy. The statement itself is 70% true. It is not true. In case of it, the clothes are heavier, rinse more. The statement is absolutely true. Statement has no falsehood attached to it. But then the data it is dealing with is fuzzy. So, degree to which a cloth belongs to that dirty set determines the degree to which the washing powder is to be used or the rinse cycle is to be used, and so on and so forth. In case number 1, you have a statement which is uncertainty introduced into it. The second case, we have data which is little uncertain. So, fuzzy logic is dealing with uncertain data. CF was designed to deal with uncertain statements. Okay. Here there are 2 statements shown. If the patient has fever, there is a suggestive evidence 0.7 that he has got malaria. If the clothes are dirty, rinse more. You can see that in the case number 1, the statement has some uncertainty. In the case number 2, the data has some uncertainty. Okay. And we can use multiple fuzzy sets to handle the cases or some rules. One example is given in the handout as well as the PowerPoint slide that you can see. If the clothes are dirtier than normal and also heavier than normal, pick up more washing powder and choose a longer rinse cycle. Now, this is a rule that is given to us. Now, how will this be implemented in a real case? So, that is shown here. For example, and again the washing machine usually contains sensors which determines the value, the input values. For example, it determines the dirtiness to be 7.6. You may ask how sensors do it. It initially jet some water over the dirty clothes, and then the water is collected at the base of that, and there is some sensor looks at the opacity of that water and determines how dirty that water is, and looking at that it determines the dirtiness of that cloth. Okay. So, that it comes out to be 7.6, and the heaviness comes out to be 4.25. Now, that again is based on the amount of weight that the clothes carry. Now, you look at these 2 values, you will have to determine the amount of washing powder and rinse cycle is to be used. So, for that we have 4 tables. The first 2 tables related to dirtiness and heaviness. You can see that there are some membership grades associated with the values of dirtiness 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 and then greater than 8. Okay. And the heaviness 1, 2, 2.5, 4.5 and anything greater than 4.5 is very heavy, because this machine has the maximum capacity is 5 kgs or something. Okay. So, based on that you have this information. Now, you can see that what's the value that we have earlier is 7.6. 7.6 does not have, now you can see that you won't find that value 7.6 on the table. If it is 7, it would be easy for us, we'll find out the membership grade as 0.6, but it is not. And and similarly it comes out to be 4.25. Again 4.25 is also not part of this thing, the heaviness. Okay. So, for that usually what is done is called interpolation, which gets us that value. Okay, is a mathematical process. It is like if 7 is 0.6 and 8 is 0.9, then what is the value of 7.6 or something. Okay. So, you will, this mathematical process will give you that answer, that is called interpolation, which is being used. So, once you get them, what you will have to do is, for example, if you get 0.6, so for 0.6 you can see that you can now you can take the right side, the membership grid, and it says that 1.5 teaspoon of washing powder is to be used, or 1.5 spoon. Okay, and again you can determine the rinse cycle accordingly, and if it is not exactly part of it, you will have to use interpolation to get it. Once you get that rinse cycle, the washing machine program runs accordingly. Okay, so this is how it is done. The second method that we are going to see in this particular module is called frames. Knowledge representation using frames is pretty, I would say, easy for you to understand if you have done any object oriented programming course, C++ or Java or something. A frame represent a class as well as object. You probably know the difference between class and an object. A class does not contain any memory, it is basically a footprint or frame work of something which carries the idea of something. Okay. The object is the actual existence of that idea. For example, when I say that student is a concept, so student is a class and Ganesh is a student, that means Ganesh is an actual student. Okay. So, and Ganesh, if I want to define Ganesh, I need to have memory. Student concept does not require frame support, multiple inheritance. And there are two frames shown on the screen. One is called Indian cricketer, the other one is called MS Dhoni. The frame Indian cricketer represents a class and the frame MS Dhoni represents an object. Okay. And you can see there is something called is A. Is A basically is a subset of relationship. It says that is a subset of cricketer, also an Indian. Now, this is called multiple inheritance. It inherit from both. So, Indian cricketer, and how do you decide? You can say that Indian cricketer is a cricketer, Indian cricketer also is an Indian. Okay. So, that is why you can say that they have easier relationship, and you can see other things are pretty common for you to understand. And now, let us look little more at the easier relationship. As I said, it is a subset of relationship, and if you want to really determine that relationship, what you need to do is to ask a simple question: X is a Y, then X has that easier relationship with Y. For example, you say that a bike is a two-wheeler, then two-wheeler and bike are these two sets are related, the classes are related by the relationship called is A. An MCA student is a student. So, is A, again you can see that MCA student and a student, they are connected by is A, and you can see that this is again a subset of relationship. If you know that part well, this also you can understand what an easier relationship is. On the contrary, there is one more relationship which exists there for the frame is called instance of. Instance of is basically an object class relationship. Okay. So, MS Dhoni is as the instance of relationship with Indian cricketer. So, that is it. So, these are two common relation things, and this is how you can relate two frames. Okay. One frame representing class, the other frame representing object. But many a times okay, this 1 or 2 or 4 or 5 frames does not really are useful for any real sense. Usually you have collection of large number of frames which are connected to each other and using which you can reason, and that thing is known as frame system. Most frames are connected to each other by easier relationship, that, and some of them are connected by instance of relationship, but in some cases they are connected by other relationships as well, and then sometimes you need to do that. For example, if you have an object called Aradhya and you like to find out what's the surname of this baby is. So, what you will do is you will have to, now you know that you can't travel instance of link. If you travel, it says it is child and then child and you won't get surname out of it. So, if you know how to do it, you will travel father of link, and when you travel father of link, you will get one more frame called Abhishek, where the value is Bachchan, and you know that yes, surname value is Bachchan. So, that is derived. So, you can get this information. Remember, I was talking about reasoning. Now, this is a typical reasoning possible, because this is obviously inheritance is one way of doing it, like if you want to find out what is the color of jersey MS Dhoni wears, it derives from this Indian cricketer, or here it is the other link. Okay. So, this thing is possible here, and there is something called entangled hierarchy. What if you travel father of link and you get a surname, you travel husband of link and you get a surname. Then obviously you know that there are two values, but then if you get husband of link, that overrides the father of link. So you will get that answer, that then you are right, and in fact you are happy that you can resolve this problem. But in this case, the MS Dhoni case, it derives from two different classes. One is Indian cricketer, the other one is CSK. So if you travel CSK link, you get the color of the jersey as yellow, and if you travel Indian cricketer, you get blue. Now that is the problem. You will not be able to manage this in a true sense. In fact, this is called entangled hierarchy, and this is one of the problems with multiple inheritance, but then you will have to live with it. The last method that we are going to see in this particular module is called semantic net or semantic networks. Here is basically something which is which complements frames. Frame is about describing the object and classes, and semantic net is about connecting them with relationships, and the idea is to connect them in some semantic way, so you can reason from it. And computer science contains many such ways, ER diagram and relationship diagrams of any sort, DFDs and use cases, and all that are basically what they are connecting different objects and with different relationships. And semantic net is quite general. In fact, it can be used to represent statements, it can be used to represent the entire projects and so on and so forth. Most relations there are also instance of an easy. Okay. You can see one example shown on the screen. Sachin is a presenter Sachin has given a bat to Sarfaraz. So, he is a presenter and the receiver is Sarfaraz and so on. You can see that Sachin is also connected to Mumbai as a hometown, as an instance of a cricketer, and Sachin is connected to Anjali with a relation called wife. Anjali is an instance of pediatrician which is connected to doctor as easy relationship. Now, please try to understand, we have used B1 here and not bat. For example, if I have a statement called Sachin gave his bat to Sarfaraz and you represent it in the form which is shown on the screen, the problem, there are two problems with it. First, bat is not an object, bat is a class. So, that is one thing, you should use an object and not a class here, because Sachin has not given concept bat or the idea bat to Sarfaraz, he has given one instance of that concept. So, that is one. So, this is literally wrong. So, we need to improve, that is first. And second problem is shown here, when there are two statements, Sachin has given his bat to Sarfaraz and Dravid has given his bat to Jay. Now, you can see that there are two presenters and two receivers, who has given what to whom is not at all clear. So, it is better you represent that as a solution shown on the next slide. Okay. So, Sachin has given B1 to Sarfaraz, which B1 and B2 both of them are instances of bats. Okay. And where Sachin is a presenter, Sarfaraz is a receiver. When Dravid is a presenter, Jai is a receiver. You can see that there is no issue here. The last thing that we are going to see in this particular module is about how to represent a universal quantifier when you represent these statements in semantic net. For example, you have a statement called all players are physically fit. You can see that there is a method called partition semantic net used here, and all statements that we make, we assume that there is a class, and so the statement that we are making here is an instance of that class. How they are connected, you can see that there is a universal quantifier pointing S to P is a player and fit is physically fit, and this thing is entangled, this thing is enclosed in a rectangle. This is called partition. What does that mean? This partition is basically what is universally quantified. What does that mean? That means that once you pick up a player, it is decided whether it is physically fit or not. Now, please understand the difference between fit and physically fit. Both of them are classes, but they have either relationship. The fit class is something which is determined by the player. So, when you pick up a player, it is fit or not. Okay. So, physical fit might contain others who are not players, okay, but fit contains only players. So, that is the difference, and you can see there are two links. One is for all link, which is you can see that connects statement to the player P, and one more which connects to the rectangle. It says that this partition identifies part of the statement which is quantified by the universal quantifier. If there is a constant, remember the three statements that we have seen in the previous module, if there is a constant value, then it is to be taken out, because it is not quantified here. I am not shown that here, but you can see the references for learning about. Okay, one more thing, if there is an existential quantifier, I do not have that partition. The rest is almost the same. You can see that the next statement talks about a statement, some players are singers. Okay, so you have the same thing, but here you have existential quantifier pointing to P, but then there is no partition, because we do not say that it is determined. So, the players are singers, but then not all players are singers. Okay. So, we do not have that partition here. So, there is one way of doing it. In fact, there are other ways. This is done by one researcher. So, I am showing it here. Other researchers have shown other methods, and there are many ways of doing it. As I said, there are many ways of using semantic nets. In fact, semantic net is known as a weak structure. One more structure which was used in literature called conceptual dependency, or CD, had a stronger structure where the few links are only allowed, and whenever you talk about a link, the connector connecting objects must be of typical type and so on and so forth, which is not observed here. You can have any type of links, any type of objects, there is no restriction, a very general kind of stuff. Okay. So, in almost all cases the semantic net is hardened by providing restrictions on it. CD is one example, there are a lot of other examples, and extended. This is about representing the knowledge using a semantic net. When we use semantic nets, let us go back to the statement, the Sachin semantic net. Now, if you want to find out what is the relation between Sachin and a pediatrician, now what you are supposed to do is to start from Sachin, start from pediatrician, and try to get an intersecting point. Now, here in this case it is very simple. You start from pediatrician, you start from Sachin, you meet at the place called Anjali, and it is connected with a relation called wife. Now, once you get that, you can easily say that Sachin's wife is pediatrician. Now, that is something that you would like to reason and infer from this knowledge. Now, this is again, if you look from predicate logic, this is quite related to it. You can say that Sachin, Anjali and wife basically is wife, Sachin, Anjali, wife in the bracket Sachin, Anjali. So, it is predicate logic form only, but in a different visual way. So, and you have instance of Anjali pediatrician. Now, you can use that, you can see that this is nothing but syllogism. Okay. Sachin's wife is Anjali and Anjali is pediatrician, that means Sachin is related to pediatrician in this particular form. Okay. Sachin is connected to pediatrician by this form. Okay. And this is obviously known as intersection search, because you basically start from one end and they start from the other end and you find out the intersecting point. That is why this is called intersection search. And there is one more thing which is not mentioned here. For example, Sachin is connected to Anjali with a relation called wife. In fact, there is always, almost always there is an inverse relation. For example, Anjali is also connected to Sachin with a relation called husband, which we are not showing. The inverse relation is almost always exist, okay, which we are not showing. In almost all cases we have that. So, with that we will come to an end of this particular module. We have seen three different ways of solving problems which we had with predicate logic in this particular module. The first one is to use fuzzy logic. Fuzzy logic, in fact, fuzzy logic is used in many commercial systems also, and we have taken some washing machine examples which are actually used in the chip that you have in the washing machine. Fuzzy logic is about to deal with fuzzy sets, the sets which does not have clear cut boundaries for the members. For example, sets like young, sets like dirty, sets like the amount of washing powder that you use and so on and so forth. And when human experts provide their rules, like housewives provide their rules about what a washing machine should do, they come in terms of the sets which are fuzzy, and you need to deal with them. So, the fuzzy logic is a system designed with that. So, we will study that in the beginning. We have looked at frames which provides object and class representation of these statements, and also multiple inheritance, and help us reasoning from links. Okay. Two links which are most commonly used, one is ISA, which is subset of relationship, and the other one is instance of, which is basically a member relationship. But then there are other relations also. We have seen father of link, which is useful for getting the surname, or color of, which probably is used for getting the color of jersey MS Dhoni wears and something like that. We have also seen that it is, when there is a multiple inheritance, it is possible to derive from two different sets, two different answers, and sometimes you can get the right answer, because if you derive from two, for example, if you try Aradhya and try father of link and husband of link, and you get two different surnames, the husband surname is presides over the other one actually. So, we can pick up that. So, there is one candidate which is correct, but the other case, in case of MS Dhoni being part of two different teams, India as well as CSK, you get the jersey color, you get two different answers, and you do not have any mechanism to sort it out, unless you have some contextual information that the user is asking for CSK or asking for Indian jersey, you will not be able to get the right answer. The last thing that we have seen is called semantic nets, where the objects are connected to each other by some links. It is basically an extension to frame into something called a frame system, where every node represents a frame and the relation is managed. We have seen that there is something called intersection search, which help us learn about the relation between two different objects, and you can represent universal and existential quantifiers using specific links, and universal quantifier is possible to be represented using partition semantic nets. With that, we will come to an end of this particular module. Thank you.